Let's pull this up for a second. And again, Bard is not the end all be all either. So I just want you guys to know that. But it's a better source in a lot of ways compared to ChatGPT when it comes to crypto. So, all right, straight from Bard. Let's pull this up. So it states, let me pull up the question. I said, I want you to compare the differences of the BTC white paper and the BSV white paper. It says the Bitcoin white paper and the Bitcoin SV white paper are both foundational documents that outline the design, right? And operation of the respective blockchain protocols. A lot of this will be read verbatim because it kind of needs to be. While they share some similarities, there are also key differences between the two white papers that reflect the distinct goals and visions of each project. For one, block size and scaling. This always will get brought up. One of the most significant differences between the two white papers lies in the approach to block size and scaling. The Bitcoin white paper proposes a gradual increase in block size from 1 megabyte to 8 megabytes. To keep in mind what we pointed out earlier, right? So 1 megabyte to 8 megabytes with the possibility of further increases in the future. This approach is intended to balance the need for increased transaction throughput and the need to maintain network decentralization. In contrast, though, BSV white paper advocates for unlimited block size, arguing that this is essential to accommodate the growing demand for on-chain transactions. BSV developers believe that this approach will enable Bitcoin to fulfill its original vision of becoming a global peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Hello, does that not sound bullish in itself? Do you see Bard arguing this? I mean, no, it's not the end-all be-all, but that is interesting. Give credit where credit's due, right? Transaction scripting. Another key difference between the two white papers lies in their treatment of transaction scripting. Bitcoin's scripting language is relatively limited, allowing for a basic set of transaction operations. BSV, on the other hand, has introduced a more powerful scripting language, enabling a wider range of transaction types and applications. This increased flexibility is seen as a key advantage of BSV. Oh my God. As it allows for the development of new innovative uses for the blockchain. Maybe new innovative uses for Visa, MasterCard, IBM, and, a conglomerate of standout companies to use it. Why? Because it's actually innovative instead of having dinosaur technology that's 5 TPS. I don't even know if it's even that. Right? How is BTC innovative? It's not. Anyway, consensus mechanism. All right, this is where they both agree on some of these things, I guess. So both BTC and BSV white papers describe, of course, proof of work. Yeah, we know that. Consensus mechanism as the foundation for the respective blockchains. However, there are some technical differences in the implementation of proof of work between the two protocols. Okay, this is good. BSV has made several modifications to the proof of work algorithm, including increasing the difficulty adjustment frequency and introducing a new block format. Okay. These changes are intended to improve the efficiency and security of the BSV network. You guys didn't notice something here? Every single time, even Bard mentions this, mentions innovation, improving efficiency, security, if not that, just speed. So every single turn of the table, I don't see anything negative here about BSV. If anything, on the surface, it looks like it's way better. I'm just throwing that out there. Privacy. The Bitcoin white paper does not specifically address privacy concerns, while the BSV white paper discusses the importance of privacy in digital currency system. BSV has implemented several features to enhance privacy, such as the use of OP_return opcode and the development of a new privacy-focused protocol called MetaSTX. I have to research that more. I mean, I don't know about that. Maybe Satoshi can elaborate that, and I will do a collaboration with Satoshi. Who knows? Maybe within the next few days, week. I don't know. We'll see. I will ask him about MetaSTX. I have to remember that. All right. Overall vision. Bitcoin white paper outlines a vision for a decentralized peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Yes, we know that. BSV, on the other hand, their white paper, while sharing this vision, also emphasized the potential for Bitcoin to become a global platform for data storage. This is back to the whole thing of what Michael Saylor has stated. I don't know if we do it tonight because, it's really been a long show, but you guys have seen it. How many times have you seen Michael Saylor? Like, this is where he states that he's just 100% gung-ho about BSV because, he feels as though that it's just like you could store all of this data. It's the greatest store of value, right, is Bitcoin. But this is game changer. I mean, every time we see the statements from Bard on this reply, BSV emphasizes potential Bitcoin global platform data for data storage, smart contracts, and other apps. All right, here's the conclusion. I know this is all verbatim, but man, I couldn't really chop up any of that. That's all good stuff. The Bitcoin white paper and the BSV white paper represent two distinct perspectives on the future of Bitcoin. Both documents share a common foundation, the original Bitcoin concept, but they diverge in their approaches to scaling, scripting, consensus, privacy, and overall vision. These differences reflect the ongoing debate within the Bitcoin community about the best way to achieve the original goals of course, Bitcoin. Now, in conclusion, my conclusion, I want to state this. If the reason why you are not getting into BSV is because you got something against Craig Wright, you think he's a fraud and so on, I will say this once, I'll say it again. On the surface, even when you get more into the whole thing of BSV, there is no denying the utility, whether Satoshi Nakamoto is Craig Wright or not. The utility of BSV is so much more impressive compared to BTC. If we're going to reference, charts or graphs, diagrams, visuals, presentations, slides, you name it, with that classic thing of here's BTC at 5 TPS, and here's Ethereum at 14 to 15 and so on. And, we do the thing with XDC and so on, I don't know, was it 1400 TPS and so on. All of that is no comparison, obviously, to BSV. I will agree with that. Even the project we covered earlier with Linois, 1 million TPS, that's super impressive. But in reality, if you compare this to BSV, there's no comparison. Now, am I telling you guys to just, swap all your stuff from what you have to BSV? Of course I'm not. At the end of the day, there's all risk to reward ratios. I mean, technically, if I knew for a fact that, Craig Wright was the real deal and, Bitcoin or, BSV is going to not just go to 10K a coin at some point or after the copper trial or in the future next year, then yeah, I'd be one of those guys, kind of like CZ and, mortgage my house and so on, or whatever the case be. I don't want to do that, that's too much of a risk, right? You got to have you can't be a crazy madman. I mean, there's some billionaires that became billionaires because they took the big risk, but let's face it, that's too big of a risk. But what isn't too much of a risk is for me to say, hey, you know what? I'm done with meme coins. And I have been done with meme coins since early 2022. I think the last meme coin I got into was like January or February 2022. Right? I still hold, of course, some of the originals, Dogecoin, Shiba Inu. Hey, that did well for me, right? But my point is, I'm not going to chase down the degen stuff. So how do I justify maybe my the money I have for things I took a gamble on and so on? Well, I am going to say BSV, and even as we speak, I'm in the profits on that. Why? Because I bought on my last bag the bottom, right around $25. And I don't know, man. Say what you want, guys. I don't think enough people are talking about the whole thing of the COPPA trial and so on, but that would be the biggest news in crypto history. All of the mainstream outlets would report on that because you guys know they only report on either good or bad news.